Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, looking at the put to call ratio, if I can find the window, is at 0.43. It's almost as high as it was, let's see, Friday, Thursday, I think. Yeah, it's at 0.43, so it's pretty low. Everyone's in the call, so we'll go over the afternoon news in a minute. So everyone's on the call side as of close on Friday. Now, looking at the economic calendar for the week, we got Fed speakers galore all week long, at least the next couple days. No news except Fed speakers on Monday. No news on Tuesday. No news on Wednesday. That's weird. Thursday, get flash PMI, unemployment claims on Thursday. So I get a little bit on Thursday. And Friday, really nothing. So economically, on the calendar, Thursday's the only day that we have any news whatsoever. But the Fed speakers could shake things up. So as of Friday, we closed right around the 594.30-ish area. Then we had news after hours. Moody's decided to downgrade the USA, and the market dumped after hours. And after hours, it went down to like 588-ish, 588.25, something like that. So who knows where the futures will open up. SPY could be fully recovered by morning tomorrow. We could end up going down more. Usually when we have these big gap downs, I am looking at calls at open, because what happens is when you have these massive gap downs, everyone jumps into puts at open and they end up squeezing them. So you get a candle or two. It really depends on the day. I mean, sometimes you get a candle or two squeeze at open, and sometimes it just rips all day long. So it's hard to tell what we're going to get. Now, I'm not saying just because we gap down you go and buy calls, because you don't. You wait. There's certain levels you need to look at, which we'll call in the morning. I'll look at. It's assuming even SPY even gaps down. We may not even gap down. We may even be back up to halfway or even fully recover. SPY is crazy. It does lots of crazy things. I mean, we've seen massive gap downs, and by the time the SPY opens up, it's fully recovered. So we could see that. We used to see it all the time during COVID. So you can't really bank on anything with SPY. Bad news, it pops. Good news, it pops. I mean, it's stupid. But anyways, now we're just going to look at it. We're going to be looking at both sides of this. I mean, we get over Friday's high of 595. We're going to shoot to 600. 600 is going to be a massive magnet. And we get over 600, we're probably going to shoot to all-time high pretty quickly. Now, if we end up gapping down and we end up dropping more, then we get this gap to fill underneath the 580. We're actually technically underneath the 576 area to 570, so we get a gap to fill down there. We get a gap down here at the 530-ish area, so we get gaps to fill on the way down on SPY. So definitely keeping open mind about the gaps where they are, because we may fill them, but we may not. But one thing I kind of would like to point out is it's kind of ironic that we have a bearish divergence going into Friday, and the RSI on the daily is about 70, and they had that perfectly timed news after Friday. Now, the thing with Friday news is that they get the whole weekend to digest it, get the whole weekend to really look into it, versus it happening on a Monday morning, and the market could just go crazy. But when it happens Friday after hours, yeah, it's going to react. But when you have the full weekend with no market doing anything, I mean, you can really digest the significance of the news, if it's even significant at all to the market. That's one thing you're going to keep an eye on too, is that the weekend news, Friday news, may not be as much as you think by the time futures open and Monday morning comes around, because 2 days in the market is like, it's a long time. The spies get the attention span of a toddler. It literally could forget the news an hour later and not care. So then it has a full weekend. So it'd be interesting to see where futures open up and stuff like that, and how it reacts, if it does at all. But like I said, we're going to keep an open mind, watch SPY from both directions. Now, VIX, I'm going to have to guess what VIX is going to be. I mean, VIX was down right around 17. It's probably going to open above 20. If we, I'm assuming that we stay gap down, we'll probably can see VIX above 20. VIX gets above 20, it's got gaps to fill above 22, up to 22. But 15 seems to be the bottom for VIX. So VIX is probably going to be above 20 tomorrow, but I could be wrong. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be kind of hard to do a watch list not knowing how far the market's going to gap down, whatever, or if it even does gap down. But a couple of things I want to point out is Apple. I mean, Apple gets over 214. We're going to probably get a push to fill this gap up to 220, 221. So definitely keep an eye on that. And if we do end up dumping and selling off, I think we have to look. See, I'm going to have to look at the after hours on a lot of these stocks. Yeah, see, Apple closed end of day after hours at 207, which is right down here, right near the gap fill. I mean, we get it below 207. We're probably going to shoot down to 200 on Apple and fill that gap. So, like I said, you're going to have to keep an eye on both sides of the trades. So we're basically throwing darts blindfolded right now, not knowing how the market's going to react. So Apple's good either way. BA. Oh, actually, let's look at BA after hours. BA after hours barely dropped. I mean, what, 205? 206 to 202. I mean, it's not that bad. Oops. Okay. BA is just overextended on the daily. I mean, it's got 80 RSI, so I'd be looking at underneath 202 anyways. I mean, yeah, 202. 200 is a little bit of a gap fill underneath 200, 198. So you could definitely see if BA pulls back, we probably could get back into this 190 area if it does. So definitely keep an eye on BA. Meta is another one. Let me just look at Meta after hours. I have to look at it on the side. On the side to see if it dropped. I mean, yeah, it dropped. Let's see, it closed around 640, and it's around 628. So 628. So yeah, I think it's Meta gets underneath 625. It's got gaps to fill at 6 to 610. And you get gaps under 575 or 570. You get gaps down here at 511. So Meta's got some gaps to fill on the way down. Definitely keep an eye on that. Microsoft. Let's see. Looking at after hours on Microsoft, it closed. Friday's close was 454, and after hours was 459. So it dropped like $5 on Microsoft. Now Microsoft is huge earnings gap up. RSI is like 80, close to 80, 76, 78. Bearish divergence going on. Its price is going up. RSI is going down. What did it close at? 459, 449. So yeah, it closed right underneath this area. So if it does manage to get underneath, we'll say 446. Watch for a push to 440, 430, and gap support is probably going to be right around 425. I don't know if we'll fill the gap. That's pretty far, but if the market freaks out, we're probably going to fill that gap. But I would imagine if we get to the 425 area, we're probably going to bounce a little bit, maybe even make a head and shoulders like long term. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that for Microsoft. That's all I'm really looking at. It's kind of hard to do a watch list with a massive gap down and trying to forecast or predict what's going to happen. I don't like trying to predict the future because I don't know, and just kind of keep an open mind and look for both sides. And who knows what's going to happen. We're probably going to see some crazy swings tomorrow, or futures could be crazy tonight. So I don't like watching futures. I have better things to do with my time. I'm only trading from 9 to 4. I don't care about anything else. You guys can trade futures and do that stuff, but remember, futures is unlimited risk. You get in and news hits, you could be down 100 points in a flash. So imagine if you were long on ES on Friday, and they dropped the Moody's news, you were screwed. So futures, it's tough. So anyways, that's gonna do it for the watch list, and thanks for watching.